Frost Productions.
What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome back to the Black Barbershop. It's your boy Gotti and got my nigga Ace Boogie in here. What's the nigga? What's up, my nigga Ace?
What's the deal, bro?
Man, I'm chilling right here. Hey, it's crazy. My nigga Ace is on the spin board. Shout out to my nigga Ace today. He out here actually operating the show, and I'm the one talking.
Right, we did a little hiccup at first. You know, I'm getting used to it. You know what I'm saying? But it's gonna be better in weeks to come. In a minute, I'm gonna be taking over this thing.
Yeah, you know, I'm kind of out of the hand element, like my hands. I don't know where my hands are supposed to go right now, so it's like all brain for me right now.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not really touching anything
put
on
them
the
on
soundboard.
your knees.
Nah, I feel it, though. But, yeah, man, today we actually have a big topic of conversation. As you know, we posted on our page that we're going to be talking about a little bit of mass incarceration. We do have a special guest today. We actually have two special guests. We have a daughter and a father, and they're actually the Taylors, so let's give them a hand of applause. You can hit that right there, Ace Boogie. Let them get a round of applause real quick.
For sure.
The other one right there on the left, where you got the emojis. Yes, sir. There you go right there. Give them a round of applause.
That's a fact.
Yeah, then we have some content today, as we know, for our segments that we usually have. We do have this section of Everybody Loves It, Who Needs a Lineup, and we also have Don't Mess My Cut Up. That's finna go up. But yeah, before we go, what's the deal? How y'all doing today? Y'all can introduce yourself and what's going on.
I'm doing good. My name's Charles, the father of Dynasty Taylor.
Hey.
So why he putting
I like that.
out there?
I like that intro. I like that. I like that intro. He introduced himself as the father of his daughter.
Exactly.
Message.
That was the ultimate compliment. Seemed like.
Yeah, I love you too, Dad. It's your girl, Dynasty. I'm just happy to be here. I think we was just together 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
So we holding it down. So yeah, I'm happy to be back.
This is like the culmination of
For
2
real.
weeks ago.
Right.
I guess we're going to get everything in perspective tonight as far as when it comes to like mental health in our community, because I'm struggling with it, like, you know.
Yeah, the full
like
definition.
what mental health is and how we cope with it and all of that. I'm struggling with that, so hopefully I can get a clear view tonight.
Yeah, so pretty much tonight we do have some conversation that's going around mass incarceration, but the main topic of discussion is mental health. As we know, it's Mental Health Awareness Month, and everything is actually going, processing. People are learning more about different ways to cope with anxiety and depression and different ways of just being, you know, who they need to be happy, because being happy is actually what a lot of people deal with, especially the black community. We deal with a lot of different traumas that we don't actually identify. But yeah, we do have Dynasty and her father with some information and some different things that are going on with them. So if y'all would like to put that out there, let the people know what's going on, what y'all got going, what's happening with y'all.
Man, it's a lot of stuff happening, you know. As you stated before, Mental Health Awareness is the month of May, so we are transitioning into that.
Yes.
So that's an amazing thing. I've been a social worker since I would say 21, so I'm about to be 30. It's been about 8-9 years. I've been in the field of social work. I'm a school social worker, and my dad is do you want to tell them about what you do?
I'm a program manager for the Timeless Group. I work with the homeless population.
Okay.
So
it is also around mental health.
you want to tell them a little bit about
Well, basically what we do, we take them in from the jails. We give them a place to stay. And once we give them a place to stay, they have case manager, ICMS managers, and by the time they leave the program, they find them a place to stay for their own, to be out on their own. So while they at the place, they got to take their medication. It's regular, everyday people just like you and me. It's just that they've been through problems in their lifetime and with trauma situations, and then they put them on medication. Then next you know it's a continuing health problem that goes on. So they become dependent on that medication.
Right.
So you know, I try to do my work and do what I can to help out. You know, we do groups inside of there, you know, things just to help them transition back to society, because at the end of the day, they still got to function as human beings once they go out and be on their own again. Because if they don't, they end up back in jail.
Right.
And that's
Yeah,
something that
that's
we
big.
don't want.
Do you think that's something that you is the work that you're doing now something that you knew you wanted to get involved in before you got out?
Yes.
Like before you got out, did you know that you was gonna be doing this type of stuff when you got out?
Before I got out, I knew that I was going to be in the line of work of helping people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, once I made the transformation to change my life
Mm-hmm.
and went through many self-help programs, I understand that everything was mental.
Right.
So the mental state, once you keep, you know, you keep hitting it in the wrong way, it's never going to grow, right? So that's something that I do understand as a person. So my whole concept was giving back, because the more that I give back and part of the program that I'm part of, the more we give back, it makes us better as people.
Right.
Because you practice what you want to be.
Because that's what I was saying. It's like earlier, like when we first came on, it's like I always looked at happiness as a choice.
Right.
Like I always felt like I choose to be happy, or I choose to have a happy spirit about myself and how I go about life and how I think. You know what I'm saying? But that is mental.
Right.
But we was talking about something like what people think they got to do in order to be happy, and I always thought it was just making a choice.
No, it's bigger than that.
Okay, that's
You can't. One thing that I have learned is that you can't have happiness without peace. If you don't
Right.
know how to find peace within yourself, you never find happiness. Because even when people say, I just want to be happy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So while you trying to be happy, there's still things that's going to happen in your life.
No, that's
Right.
That's
but
facts.
if you're able to go back to that peace within, that you will be able to make good decisions while you go through these struggles and these
Right.
stressful times. But it won't take your happiness away from you, because as long as you have that peace to go back to, it's going to always be something where it's a comfort at.
right.
And then, like I said, that's how happiness is not like something that just put a smile on your face. You just got to learn how to live on life terms, but understand that, hey, as long as you know how to go back to your comfort zone, you'll be okay.
Right. That was I like that. That was well said. Because
Well,
I
yeah.
feel like you can have, it's like I said, like I always looked at it as a choice. It's like, okay, I choose to be happy. I choose not to have drama coming in my life or whatever, right? But then you can have somebody that you have to deal with, right? Like, you know, we got kids, so me and him got kids, so you gotta deal with the mother of your child.
Right.
So you can try to go and live your life in a peaceful way,
Right.
but you might have a situation that might not be bringing so much peace. You know what I'm saying? And that will take away from your happiness, though.
Yeah.
So I like that.
It'll shake it up a little bit, but I'm saying it's about how sometimes you don't have to respond to certain things.
No, facts.
People feed off you. If you have somebody that's pretty hostile and then you get hostile too, it's only going to make it worse.
Right.
So we got to lead by example.
Right.
It's not always that easy. So I get that. You know,
Yeah.
it takes time to even get there mentally, to get there, to like
Yeah.
to take things in and not take it so personal.
Because I'd have been in a situation where it's like, okay, I'm in my 30s, so I know I'm not supposed to be fighting, right?
Right.
I don't meet people with hostility. You know, I mind my own business, me and my friends. But it's like when somebody meets you with hostility, only thing I know is to revert back to what I know. And that's to, you know what I'm saying, when you feel disrespected, is, you know what I'm saying?
We
now,
call that the default setting.
yeah, now it's on. Disrespect back, you know? And then after the situation has happened, I always check myself like, you know better than that. Like,
Yeah.
why did you even let that person get you to that point to where you doing that and hopping out of your character like that? So, yeah, I understand that.
Right. So I mean, just a little backstory. So pretty much, you know, our friend Charles actually did some time. I don't want to say some time. He did a lot of time, honestly. We're gonna have some questions for him throughout the show, and we're gonna basically talk about his mental during the state of being incarcerated as well. But before we get into that serious conversation discussion, we do have some some things to talk about on who needs a lineup this week. Cause man, there's been some crazy stuff going on social media, and people out there, boy, they ain't got their minds right. So we gonna pretty much talk about how their minds is supposed to be operating, and if they need a lineup. So first conversation of discussion is we had a mom throw a 14-year-old a stripper party and post all of the pictures and content on Facebook, and those kids. They look pretty happy. I mean, as a 14-year-old, I don't know. I probably would have been turned up if my mama got me some strippers. That's just me though. And he had some pictures. You know, literally, he had some grown women in front of him. He had his hands on some buttocks, doing his thing. Yeah, how do y'all feel about that? Would y'all even? I know she need a lineup, but I'm just saying, as a 14-year-old boy, I would have been lit. That's just me though.
She most definitely lied.
That's terrible.
I would have been turned.
That's terrible.
No, that's she's setting a bad mind state for him. You know,
Right.
Just to give a 14-year-old a stripper party. You know what I'm saying? And then you know how strippers do it. You know,
Right.
they put themselves out there in the way. So if I'm 14 and I see my mom's is cool with that,
Right.
the way I look at women is going to be in a whole different way.
Right.
And one day he probably don't even respect her one day.
Right.
You know, because if she letting him get away with that, there ain't no telling what else she letting him get away with.
And I think a lot of people don't understand that too. It's like as parents, it's like the things that I see these kids doing now, or just whatever. It's like, you know what I'm saying. I look back and it's like, okay, we didn't grow up like that, but then we still grew up and was badasses and assholes and all of that. So it's like, it'd be like, okay, well, your parents did teach y'all like this, and look how y'all turned out.
Right.
But it's like now I'm really scared for this next group. I'm really scared for this next group because I feel like it's nothing. It's nothing that they don't, you know what I'm saying, like they don't know about.
They don't
you know
fear
what I'm saying?
nothing
It's like,
either.
yeah, it's like I really had to wait till I was 18 to get in the strip club. You know what I'm saying? I might be the only nigga in America that don't like strip clubs, but for other reasons, you know what I'm saying?
I don't
But
like strip clubs either.
you
though.
don't?
I don't.
That's what
bro.
I'm saying.
Really? I don't really hear that a lot. Why?
Nah, I don't like strip clubs.
I don't agree with the concept of throwing in my money.
Facts.
I don't agree with that
Facts.
concept. Like I mean, can we keep it real for 1 second, or no?
Go ahead. Keep
Go
it
ahead.
100.
I feel that if you're gonna go in the strip club, right, and you're gonna toss all these dollars to a stripper, and she's gonna do whatever, and she's gonna make the man aroused or whatever, then I feel like you might as well go in there and get into direct negotiation with the stripper that you want or you like.
Right.
That makes more sense than just throwing money and then them doing what they do, and then you leave and go home at the end of the day.
Now,
Right.
I want y'all to think about this one, though. She throw her 14-year-old son a strip party. Let's think about it. It had to be alcohol and drugs in there, too. You know what I'm saying?
I ain't even think about none of that.
And that's what I'm saying. Who was at this stripper party? Was it family members? Like, was
He
it
had-
his friends
he
or
had
who was
all,
there? Like,
he had all his friends with him. He had all his friends, and I don't know if the moms knew, but
Where's
man.
the consent forms for
Yeah,
the
that's
parents?
terrible.
To make sure?
and this was actually posted on Lil Duval's page.
and I was just about to say, this had to be in Florida. This sounds like some Florida shit.
Yeah. How you feel about it though, Dynasty?
I'm not a parent, so sometimes I struggle with knowing when to have an opinion on that type of stuff. But I definitely think that would be of a concern to me. I think some things should be age appropriate, and that wouldn't be age appropriate for him, my son, at 14. And it's supposed to be happening during the quarantine, right?
Right.
So we're not even supposed to have all of this going on
Right.
at the same time. So it's to me, I think the person need to line up on all grounds. Just the fact that she's not practicing safe practices in terms of what's happening right now in our world. We don't need to have everybody throwing parties at this moment. And then on top of that is that he's too young to be having a stripper party. You know, let his curiosity grow as a person with his age like we did. And when your time comes, you can have all the fun that you have, you know.
Right.
But I just think that that's just too much. And I think that once you open that door, what other doors is you going to be opening? You know what I mean? Like, what's next?
Exactly.
So, yeah.
It's like, can we classify that as a mental illness or no?
No,
Nah, that's
Like, because you got to really
Sure.
think about the conditions that the mom was exposed to for even making it up in her mind that that's cool to have for her son.
Yeah. It can create one. It can create one.
That's all I'm saying. That might be it. That might be.
That's crazy. That's all I'm gonna say.
There's
So
something wrong with somebody mental in that. You know, I mean, as a 14-year-old, of course, you might be the coolest dude at your school after that, but
Yeah,
in hindsight, that's not cool.
we gonna lace front her without the it's gonna look like a lace front.
Right.
She ain't gonna look good with her lineup. But yeah, we gonna hit her in one of those because that is crazy, and I don't agree with it. She do need to line up. Like I said, I'm just being honest. If I was 14, I would have been lit though. That's just me though.
Nah, that's not
It sound definitely lit.
Just to answer your question too about the strip club, the reason why I don't like the strip club is pretty much the same thing as A said. You might as well just go get a prostitute. That's just me though, personally. Because I mean, you gonna go to a strip club just to watch some females dance and sit there, have conversation. You could do that at a hookah bar, and you could watch YouTube. I'm just me though. I ain't spending my money on stuff that don't need to be spent. You feel me? If I'm gonna spend my money, it's gonna be well worth me
And
spending
also,
my money.
I understand what the strip club scene is.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you're a rapper, I understand it. A lot of rappers get their songs broken strip clubs. You know what I'm saying? So you got to go out. You got to make it seem like you and your crew got all this money. Mm-hmm. It's an image thing. Mm-hmm. But strip clubs don't make no sense to me. You got a whole bunch of girls in there that's not gay.
Hey, shout out to the strippers though. Shout out to the strippers.
Shout out to them.
Y'all do what y'all do. Shout out to the females on OnlyFans too. But yeah, what we finna do is we finna talk about my boy Donald Trump, man. I don't know. I'm just gonna give him a lineup every time I hear his name.
What do he do?
I know you love Donald.
I don't love him, but what did he do?
The great Donald Trump said this.
The great Donald
I'm just playing, but he said that we should all inject ourselves with disinfected, I guess you could say bleach spray, whatever you want to call it, in our bloodstreams, and it might cure us from coronavirus. Wow. So
once again,
he had an actual press conference, and he was saying that if some of us would just take the opportunity to see how these cleaning supplies work, it might work in our bloodstream. I don't know why he would say that. This is actually content.
I'm not gonna blame Donald for that.
You not?
No.
And then we had Joe Biden come behind and say on his tweet, please do not inject yourself with bleach.
Right.
So
that wasn't said by none of the doctors, and we all know Donald Trump been saying crazy since for eons.
Yeah. So
why would you do that?
So what we gonna do?
Because I heard in the state of New York, like a gang of people started getting sick after that. Like they really went home and tried it.
I believe it. So what we gonna do is we gonna give him we gonna
Donald,
go around.
Yeah,
you giving him a lineup?
Nah, I'm not giving Donald a lineup for that.
Because people need to listen to themselves.
You a grown man, bro. If I told you might want to go home and disinfect your body with bleach, would you do it?
Nope.
Come on,
well,
man.
Well, that will be taking away the leadership of Donald Trump and what he's standing for then. Because he's supposed to be a leader. So basically what you're saying is, because what you're expecting, right, even though we may think whatever we think about it, he's in position. And he's making decisions. So what I'm saying is, with him being in position, some people still look at him for answers and looking for him to lead.
Right, he's influential.
So to tell some people like, oh, watch what your president say, some people believe in their presidents. One time we did have a president we believed in. So it might be a lot of us that don't believe in him, but the position that he plays is leadership, but he's just not a leader.
Right. But the only problem I got with that is every time that he comes up there and he talks about anything concerning that matter, he always comes up there with Fauci, the doctor. Or the one, what's the woman doctor name?
I don't know. She the woman.
If neither one of them said it, I'm not about to listen to nothing Donald Trump said about.
Yeah.
No.
But ignorance is a bliss. So.
Yeah, that's true. But think about this though. I'm saying Donald Trump was saying a whole bunch of things that was silly before he got elected.
Right.
And he still got elected, so he don't say what he wants.
Have y'all watched Dirty Money on Netflix?
I haven't seen that.
Y'all gotta watch Dirty Money on Netflix and go watch the Donald Trump episode. Go all the way down to the. I swear to God, I was sitting in the house and I was watching. I said, "How in the fuck did this dude become president? Please tell me."
I've been thinking that.
How? Like it's the like all the stuff that they exposing on that dude on that show. It's ridiculous how this man became president.
But yeah, man. Oh yeah, we got a chatter.
But I might go 4 more years though.
Keith said he loved the strippers. He is something else. All right, so another conversation and discussion. We got CC Lamb, one of the top
CD.
My bad, CD. One of the top prospects that's actually coming into the NFL. He snatched his phone away during a draft session on camera. He snatched his phone away from his girlfriend. Yeah, man. Man, he cheating, huh?
Nah, that's one of them. What the fuck was you thinking? That's not your mom.
Okay, so the question is, do y'all think he was wrong for doing that? That's the question that I would like to pose.
Can you set the scene? Because I didn't really know about
So he was actually, you know how they actually film people getting drafted into the NFL? They be usually at home on a couch with a whole bunch of family. Yeah. He was sitting there with his actual family and his girlfriend, and she was reaching over to his lap as he was on one of his phones, but he had a phone in his lap. When she was reaching for the phone, she grabbed it and was about to open it, and he snatched it from her, it literally, and was just like, he looked at her like, what is you doing? And went back into looking into his phone.
True enough, he probably was texting this other thing right before that. It was like, yeah, I'm about to just, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Dallas called me. They probably about to, you know, I'm probably about to be going to Dallas. But I think I'm gonna give her a lineup for doing that. That's not, you know what I'm saying.
So she get a lineup?
Yeah, she get a lineup for sure.
Damn, that's deep.
You gotta let that be. This dude is, you know, this is his moment. You know what I'm saying.
Right.
Don't do nothing to mess this up right here. You know, you with me right here, You with me by my side. That's really what should be mattering. And let everything else fall where it fall.
How y'all feel about that? How do y'all feel about the idea of him snatching the phone away from her during the draft and he was on camera?
I really think he just didn't think. It was impulsive.
Mm-hmm.
So he just reacted.
I feel it.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't know what he was thinking or what she was thinking.
Just like she didn't think.
Yeah. It was just impulsive.
Right.
They weren't even tripping. They was probably waiting for the draft, and it's been a while. They was waiting. Then when it finally happened, they just got caught up in the moment. She probably been seeing something that looked at it as an opportunity.
Right,
that he
exactly.
wasn't
Like,
paying
let me
attention,
catch him.
But he was on top of it.
They always looking for opportunity.
Yeah, that was the wrong time. She knew she was getting drafted.
Yeah, so I don't know if she need to line up because I don't know what was some of the incidents that happened prior to that.
Right.
If they got into it in the car or whatever.
Just right there while I'm
No, I was about to get to that. I feel like with family, that was not the place and time. Just you got family around. It's cameras. Is what's happening. Is what's happening. It is his moment. I don't feel like it was a phone moment, to be honest. I feel like she could have did that in the car like how Rihanna and Chris Brown did after fact.
Yeah.
But not on a tip where it's in front of the press and it's a moment where he getting drafted. I don't think it was something that she should have been thinking about at that moment. Whatever did happen that she did see, I feel like if it wasn't nothing in jeopardy in terms of somebody's safety or something, I don't think that should have even happened. But I do feel like there should be boundaries if a grown woman is grabbing they man's phone. I just think I wouldn't like it if my partner just snatched my phone, just without permission. I think it's boundaries too. I don't think it's just like literally just him like being impulsive because that's true.
But like, what
But
kind of
people don't
boundaries though? Like, let's speak about these
Okay,
boundaries.
so
like, what-
okay,
like,
okay, so if this me and my dude together,
Yeah.
if he take my phone off my lap, I'm gonna wonder why.
I'm trying to see something real
Well,
quick.
you see, I'm trying to handle business right now.
But I'm saying if you sitting waiting for draft and they got cameras on you, right? Once she snatched that phone, I would have let her have it to afterwards. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause
Yeah,
you
but
don't
he was
want-
trying
you
to
don't
Then
explain
he could have got
boundaries.
caught, but then that would have been me getting caught up.
But
If
he
I would have
talking
let her
about
just have it.
But his career is more important.
Facts.
What people see on camera is more important.
Facts.
So now, being that he reacted that way,
And he
this-
probably gonna dump her anyway.
this is what we talking about.
Right.
When we think about his name, you know what I'm saying? This is
We don't know how crazy she is either, though,
Exactly.
because she could have actually flipped if she went through that phone. I'm just saying, and she didn't care about them cameras.
Turned into a little demon child. Huh?
It
Right.
was the wrong time.
So something I did find out is she is the person who needs a lineup. Social media went crazy. They actually went on her page. She has pictures with him. Obviously, he has no pictures of her.
See?
She has all these comments saying, "Why would you grab your man's phone? You should have waited till you got the ring on your finger." These are all the comments that I was reading. Some people also said, "Why would you
Coming
grab his
from people
phone?"
who
And it
don't
was
got
his
a ring on
moment,
their finger.
right? And then somebody else also said, "Why would you grab his phone and he's going to the NFL? You should have waited till you got your bread first." But yeah, I think that was very interesting for people to be saying so much things and not even know their life,
That's what I'm saying. It's
which
like,
is social
I feel
media.
like
what
that
are the
was too
boundaries?
big.
I'm trying to establish boundaries. Like, why are boundaries? Like, if
He's still on that.
nah, because I'm trying to figure it out.
Okay, I didn't finish
In a
explaining
relationship, why would it need to be a boundary on the phone? And I'm not saying that I agree with it not being a boundary. I'm just asking so we could get this to the people, so we could get like a clear, a clear understanding on why a boundary might be on your phone.
I know for me, women have the opportunity. They're going to take it when they come to the phones. I suggest no dude go through any female phone. That, as you know, that's a rule for me. That's a bitch move.
Nah, but what if it's not going through it? What
it's
if
just
it's
the
like,
idea that you don't want to look into somebody's private.
what if I don't have my phone with me, right, for whatever reason?
Yeah.
And then I see your phone. I'm like, I want to look up something on the internet real quick. And I just
Grab the
your phone.
laptop.
Why I gotta grab the laptop and just
Grab
sit
the
right
laptop.
there?
I don't know, man. I just think the phone is off limits because of the context. We read into context and we take it differently.
Let me tell
That's
you
just me,
something.
though.
I don't mess with phones. I learned my lesson a long time ago. I leave phones alone. Phones is like I'm scared of phones. Like I don't want a phone. Like you know what I'm saying. But I'm just trying to figure it out. Like you know what I'm saying.
Well, my perspective as a female, I agree with Gotti. Like, I feel like there should be boundaries. I feel like that's the point of you shouldn't be with nobody you can't trust.
Mhm.
And I think that person can trust me. Like, if they say I'm in a room and my phone ring, he should be able to see my face value on my phone. I'm not hiding what's on my phone. But I feel like it's violating my privacy for you to feel like you can pick it up and just be in it. Now, that's a whole different conversation. If you bringing it to me because you're trying to show that somebody called, or whatever it is, I respect that because obviously if you see the name, you must know who this person is to me to where I have to.
I don't even do that.
But sometimes that can happen though. If you in the shower and it's an important call, like say
sometimes I just let them come see that somebody called.
Yeah, but
I'm sitting right there the whole time, just say nothing.
Married or not, I wouldn't want a guy touching my phone.
And I feel that.
Like, that's
coming from a woman. That's deep.
Yeah, like
I mean, for me too. I ain't gonna lie. The biggest thing that gets to me with the idea of going into somebody's phone is just the idea that you don't know what was said to have that kind of conversation that they're having. Some people have conversation that's very innocent. Mm-hmm. But it seems like it's bigger than what it is. And once you read the context, you might just take it out of place because there's things that's in everybody's phone, whether it's on social media, whether it's through text, that if somebody else read that's actually with you, that's a spouse, read what you said back to somebody or what somebody said to you, may think that that is something bigger than what it is. That's just how it operates because phones are something that we see as suspicious, period. It's half of your brain.
Like I said from jump, I'm not grabbing the phone because I want to go to your DMs or your text messages. I just want to go to Safari.
Well, Safari is in a lot of different places.
Well, you gotta ask that question, right? You gotta ask the question,
go
right?
on
To
Safari.
use your phone. Can I use your phone?
Can I use your phone?
Oh,
then?
can I use your phone?
Can
I use your phone real quick?
When you get in a relationship, and I'm pretty sure Gotti can relate because he has a whole unit. You know what I'm saying? And when I just feel like you give that person your all. You know what I mean? You give it your all, and the only thing you really got is your peace of mind, you know, and your little phone. You know what I'm saying? You don't really have no other place where you be you or you engage with other people or whatever that could be. It's just your phone. Right?
But I mean, I'm gonna have to intervene right there because you said you have your place where you can be you.
Be you, meaning I can go to Safari. Just like how you want to go to Safari on my phone. I want to be on Safari. I might want to look up some self-care tips. I might want to look for a nail shop that's open during the quarantine.
So you just talking about the privacy of the whole thing.
I'm big about privacy. I'm big about space.
Space
and boundaries.
I agree with that
like-
because that's some real stuff.
just like-
Sometimes when you get into relationships, it don't really be a lot of privacy. You know what I'm saying?
And it's controversial. You see how he's trying to flip that now?
No, I'm telling the truth though. It don't be a lot of privacy, and it's not necessarily that somebody is in their phone cheating or they trying to talk to a significant other than yours. It's just sometimes it might be something you don't know about me, and
then I have like a diary in my notes section. That's where I write my poetry, and I write things that person may not want to see. Just like Godwin said, don't have to just be text.
But that's scary to me. That's scary to me. That's scary to me.
What?
It's scary to lay down with a woman and they got diaries or all this stuff that you don't know about. You don't know what they saying.
That's my self-care.
That's
you
scary
always supposed to keep
hell.
something for yourself, right? But I don't think you got to think about it just because somebody look at their phone as violation of privacy that they trying to hide something.
Right.
I feel like if you have a conversation and you tell me why you want to use my phone, I didn't say I wouldn't give it to you, but you're just taking it without my permission and without me knowing. I feel like it's a violation of my privacy. I already give you everything. We already stay together. Bills we already collected. So at least let me have my phone.
As soon as you go to that diary, I hate his ass today. You want to know what he did? He left all of this. You know what I'm saying? It's just the diary.
Or not even that. I might have
like,
a homegirl that's text messaging talking about, you know, some things that happened in her life that I may not want that I don't want nobody to see because it's her business. It could just be a lot of different things.
Yeah, that's deep.
And look, this is something I do want to share. Then we can go into the last who needs a lineup. First of all, we all agree that she needs a lineup because she shouldn't have went through this shit because of privacy.
She attempted.
Yeah, we gonna
she
go
attempted.
with that.
Yeah.
So a story to share is I had a best friend tell me that her boyfriend went through her phone and she actually had an incident to where she went out with her friends. Somebody was flirting with her. It was a dude that was very consistent. To get him off her, she had to give him a fake number. The number that she gave was her friend's number because obviously he was going to text her right then and there. He was one of those thirsty dudes. So when the phone was texted, she was like, yeah, she holding my phone. She got home, and I guess her boyfriend went through her phone because she was out. She was out too late, I guess. She told me that she only read the portion of her talking to her friend saying, I had to give him a number because he was on me too tough. Now, in reference to taking that out of context, when he read that, it was like, damn, so you gave a dude a number to, contact you on, and he was on you too tough. So that means you liked it. So that's what I mean by reading things that's out of context. And that was a big deal for their relationship, and that's just something that I really wanted to put out there because that's what happens when people read into your,
Yeah, but to me, that doesn't make sense at all. it's like I'm never gonna give a number out to somebody that I don't want to give a number out to. It's
But
like,
you're not
why
a female either,
I
though.
mean,
So
why can't just be like,
But you're not a female either. I had to get the concept of females do get really approached, like, I mean, severely by dudes, and sometimes it
like
be,
almost harassed.
Yeah, and sometimes it don't be women that they don't get that consistently, so they don't know how to deal with it. So when they have that opportunity to find a way to get out of the situation, they're gonna do whatever they can do to get out of it. So you got to be aware of that too.
I'm gonna let you roll with that.
Yeah, I'm on the female side on that one because I'm not going through y'all phones. That's not what I do. So our last person who needs to line up, Kanye West. We gonna say, did Kanye earn this billion? I really want to ask that question. Was it Jesus? Let's ask that. Who gave Kanye this billion? Because Kanye was actually.
I am so happy.
You happy?
So elated that Kanye got this money. And
he was bankrupt at one time.
The good
just
dudes,
so y'all know.
The good dudes always come. I mean, they always gonna finish on top, and that's what this is. Like Kanye went through a lot, and everybody was coming down on him when he had to go bankrupt, and they was saying that he had to borrow this money from Kim K, and everybody was on his head, and nobody know what he was doing. All that stuff he went through with Jay-Z snake ass. I'm glad. I'm happy. I'm happy he got this bread, bruh.
Nah,
For real.
I'm happy too. I pretty much think Kanye deserved no lineup, and he can be a bum all he want with the bum clothes sometimes he make. But man, I'm proud of Kanye, man. I think Kanye worked his way to something that I think a lot of people don't see is happiness. He really had this mindset that the industry wasn't making him happy anymore. He wanted to make music for Jesus. He actually spoke. I think he spoke everything he talked about into existence, especially with his family. You know, like people don't agree that he's with the Kardashians, but I think his mental was on the idea that he was fascinated with a woman that he liked as well, and the fact that he's seen that they had a business plot that can take his brand bigger. And I'm not saying he actually, used her. They used each other, obviously, but I think that he had an opportunity to make his life what he always dreamed it to be. And I'm happy for Kanye. I think I still want to go to a Sunday service. I don't know about y'all. How y'all feel about Kanye?
Nah, for real.
But Kanye, he good with me.
Kanye good?
Yeah, I'm saying he didn't say a lot of things, but I think any time a person can continue to climb, regardless of what he's been through, I can't be mad at that person. There's a lot of people in this world that get away with a lot of stuff.
Right.
So he doing it his way. His way probably don't always be the right way for other people, but it's the right way for him. And if it worked, if it get him $1 billion,
that's what matters.
I mean, as long as he, with me, as long as he helping somebody along the way, I'm good with that.
What about you, Dynasty? How you feel about Ye?
I'm a fan of Ye. Always been since college dropout. I think he is a lyrical genius. I think that a lot of us ain't never been in the same position as him. So him being a little weird or him being a little different, I think that it's hard for us to judge. Because if you look at yourself, we all got a little weirdness or something that we could work on. But I also think that people disregarded that he went through a serious mental health issue, from gaining weight, from going through publicity issues, just a lot of things, from seeing his mama died and Kim K dad died. So I think that they connected a lot emotionally because they were two hot people. But Kim K dealt with a lot of things too, trauma growing up. You know what I mean? And I think that they connected based off him being infatuated with her. But I think Kanye West is a dope person overall. I think that when I seen him go through his phase, I was just praying that he would get out of it. And I think that he's taking the position and stands that a lot of people don't want to do, because it takes a lot of pride. It takes, you can't really have no ego with this. You really got to be able to go forward when you going from being this type of person and now you going full Jesus route.
Right.
So I respect it, and I think that it's a new wave for him. But I do think that just moving forward, he just needs to be mindful of, since he had his experiences, be considerate of other people when he say the things that he say sometimes, or elaborate and stop just throwing buzzwords out there and leaving us all shook like, dang, like what's going on, but actually elaborate, because I think he's intelligent. Because the difference between being intelligent and smart, and he's intelligent and smart, but sometimes he doesn't use it in a way that represents us as people.
I think I say always that, I'm glad that you said that. I always say that he's the epitome of a black man. Like, I think as a successful black man, he's the epitome of a successful black man, because I think that he's not perfect, you feel me? Yep. But he actually makes the world come to his feet. He makes everything comes to his feet and climb up and shows him like, you can do this. And I think that's pretty dope. Most people can't do that, especially black males. From my perspective, it's hard to stay positive. You feel me? Especially when I can only imagine going through the media, mom dying, having label issues, losing money, having all these creative mindsets,
losing friends.
yeah, and then trying to get your business started, and people telling you you're not gonna make because you're black, and they don't want to work with you because you're black. Like when you look into his story, it's pretty much like it's crazy to know that he is like the top seller when it comes to shoes as well. Like you could use Yeezys is not easy to buy. That's all I can say.
I still ain't had a pair, and I really want a pair. I still ain't had one.
So we gonna give Yeezy the Afro and the dashiki on this one. He ain't even gonna get a lineup, right?
More power to you, brother.
All right. So going into our show, we have some questions for Brother Charles. Brother Charles, you ready for us?
Man, I'm with you, man.
Yeah, you with us?
Ooh, let's hold on. Let's get.
So we gonna get you to get a little bit more closer.
This
to the
the
mic,
one
so
show I
most
didn't
of
bring
our
no
viewers can
drink
hear
on.
you as well.
You don't have no drink?
Yes.
Nah, I've been bringing it all.
Hey, next week we going up. Next week we gotta get some drink. It's Cinco de Mayo, just so you remember that. All right, so we do have some questions for you. We do know that you have been in the system for a long time, so we do have some questions. Where did you grow up, and what made you get into the lifestyle that you got into at the early age that you got into it at?
Man, that's a great question. Well, I started off on the east side with my mom's. My mom's was on drugs back then, and so we stayed in the projects. So what happened was I was always able to be out on the street. You know what I mean? I'm the only guy in my generation on my side of the family. So I was always able to roam the projects and things like that. And
Which projects?
It's Willowbrook, Virginia Village. It was I think they was Pyrus back then.
Okay.
Yeah, so but what happened was around 10 years old I moved with my pops to the jungles. And so being that I had already identified with the behavior that goes in the projects, you know, once I was in the jungles, and then, you know, my pops went to work at, 11 o'clock, about 11 o'clock, and he didn't get back home till 11. So all that time I basically had by myself. So I was running the streets, you know what I mean? I identified with the behavior.
Yeah.
And so, and I had trust issues when I was younger. I had depression issues when I was younger. So, basically, man, I got up into the gang behavior. It was more like I was just an easy picking. I just walked right into it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I identified with the drug selling. You know, I identified with the violence. You know, things like that. And so I was an easy person to just can walk up into it because everybody around me was just like me. I was like them. You know, so that's what happened. So by the time I was 16 years old, you know, I left home at 13.
Okay.
Yeah, because me and my pops, we got into it. He gave me an ultimatum, and I knew I wasn't going to abide by the rules, so I left. You know, I didn't know what I was going to do, anything like that. I stayed in, like, my partner garage for about 2-3 weeks, did everything that I can do for money, and eventually got my own place, eventually got kicked out after that. And then,
At 13?
Yeah, he had 2 cars.
I was about to say,
Getting money back then was a
Yeah.
possibility.
Nah,
That's
because I was
true,
going to say,
though.
what was the process of getting your own spot at 13? But I'm thinking, like,
well,
now.
Yeah, that was back.
Well, the thing about it is, like, at that time when you in the life and the person see that your hustle is right, I had somebody like to help me,
Right.
vouch for me for the place. So they had the place, and then basically they said, hey, I'm going to leave you the place. I want you to pay the rent.
right.
You know, so it was in their name.
I do have a quick question though. And back then, rent was like $200-$300. It wasn't that bad.
And he had 2 cars, by the way.
Yeah.
I didn't even have a car.
So a question I do have for you, because I never spoke with anybody who's done so much time. I have a cousin that's in jail. We talk all the time, but we don't really have those conversations because, you know, everything's monitoring and stuff. But everything was learned behavior. But during that process, what made you have such the ambition to continue that life? You know, like, you know, most young men, especially like myself, I was kind of scared to be around the opportunity to be, you know, in the lifestyle like that. Like, I wasn't scared of the gang members in my neighborhood, but I was scared to put myself in the scenarios that things could happen to me. What made you have that mindset to say, I'm going to just go full throttle, for you to be so young too?
Well, I can say this. At that time in my life, it was like I had this I don't care attitude. meaning that yes, I got shot at. Yes, I did things that I wasn't supposed to do, but I also got hugs and love for that stuff too. So
That's deep.
being that I didn't have family that gave me them
Mm.
same hugs and love, I feel like that I was doing the right thing. I was going through funerals back then. I watched people. I didn't even think I was going to make it to 25. I never seen jail in my mind, but I seen death. So when I think about it now, when I was locked up, I did end up getting sentenced to 28 years of life, and I did 26 and a half years. So a lot of times when I think back on my life now, I say to myself that as a young man or a young child, I didn't know what else to do. I didn't know how to do nothing else of what I learned on the street. And I just got good at it. Even though I was going down a road that ended up getting me 25 to life, 28 to life. You know what I'm saying?
deep.
So it's, I didn't want to say it, but it was like having that I don't give a F attitude.
I got you.
You know what I'm saying?
So I'm glad you said that, because a follow-up question that we do have for you is pretty much, how was your psych when you went to jail at 16, and how did you cope with just the mentality that you was incarcerated and isolated from the world? Like, because you said it was never in your vision. So when it happened, like,
Well, one thing about it, like back then, like I told you, like I knew I was gonna go to jail today. You go to jail one day, but I just didn't know I would ever go to jail for that long.
yeah,
So I thought it was just basically a part of my gang membership. It's like you don't get certified unless you go to jail. It's the mentality that we had back then. Not saying that you want to go to jail,
Yeah.
but it makes you more certified as a gang member because now you have a background, right?
it's a part of the job description.
Yeah, it's part of the job description, and it shouldn't be looked at as that. But when you have a gang mentality, it's a sick mentality, right? So at that time when I did go in, all I thought about was surviving. I thought about what was in front of me. You know, when I left home, I thought about what was in front of me, surviving. So yeah, I seen things different. It was a more controlling situation. It was a more structured situation. Especially when you get to the penitentiary, because
Right.
I've never been to the YAs and stuff like that. I fought my case for 2.5 years, and then I went straight to the penitentiary.
Okay.
So I was there with grown men at 18, 19 years old.
Scary.
Yeah, so and I seen people play for keeps.
Yeah.
So that automatically make you get your state of mind together. You can't think about the streets no more. You know you got a certain type of sentence, and you might not never go home no more. So my main thing was not getting killed in prison.
Feel that.
So, you know, I just did the things that I need to do. But I realized, you know, even in a state like that, your mental capacity is the most important thing, because you can't physically beat people all the time. You can't, you know, physically always do something to them. So what I noticed about the penitentiary game, it was like a whole mental thing. People out-thought you up in there.
I
You
got
know
you.
what I'm saying? They manipulate you up in there. You know, they try to control you up in there. So it was tough for me, to be honest with you. So I kept that same mind state, is that I showed people by my body language, by the way I looked at them or whatever, that I'm not the one. I'm not going to be the one. Doesn't mean that I could have whooped everybody up in there, but I'm not going to be the one.
Okay.
So
I do have you have any questions for him, Ace? So my follow-up question was, during the process being in there, do you think that the people were the rehabilitators, or do you think the system was rehabilitating you?
well, the system was, and at the time I was in there, it was CDC, and they was warehousing people.
Okay.
Right, and it was after I've been up in there for probably about 15 years.
You said CDC?
CDC.
Yeah, correctional
That's
department.
Yeah. So at the time when I was up in there, about 15 years after I was up in there, they eventually put the R behind the C, so it was CDCR. So what happened was when they figured out that people was going to court on them about how they was warehousing us, they was triple bunking us. We was in triple bunks, small cubicles, small cells, things like that. So they started to look into the system. Then they put rehabilitation back into the system. So once they put rehabilitation back into the system, it gave me an opportunity to get everything that I could good out of prison. So every program that they had, I took it. You know what I'm saying? I didn't go as high in my education, but I made sure I got my GED, right? And then with
Congratulations on that too.
yeah. And so with me, going to a lot of self-help groups that identified the problems that I had as a person, it gave me the courage, to one day start facilitating self-help groups and just surrounding myself with guys that's looking for the same outcome of one day getting out of prison. But it came to the point that things that I did for me. It wasn't to get out of prison. It was just to become a better person, because like stop gang banging was the hardest thing for me because that was my whole identity. That's what helped me survive in prison.
Yeah.
And I had to drop that. And once I dropped it, all I had was myself, right?
Right.
And now it's like my friends are different. My whole outlook is different. So now I have to put education into my life. And then I have to become confident with that education and to allow me to be able to become a renewed man in prison when you got a whole bunch of thugs and killers up in there.
I feel that.
So it was and once I was able to do that, it kind of gave me a reassurance like this is where I need to be. This is where I'm supposed to be. And that helped me a lot, man. That's why when they say you can't change when you come home, you got to change in prison.
I feel it.
And that's why I was able to make the transition once I came home to continue to just keep striving for the better, to rewrite my history. I want people before I leave this world, I want people to see me in a different light, to remember me in a different light, not just a man who went to go do 26 and a half years in prison. You know what I'm saying? I left my daughter out there on the street. I went to jail 3 weeks after she was born.
Wow.
So, that's, I miss basically a lot of her life. So the relationship that we building now is beautiful.
Right.
But we had conflict though. We had conflict, but that conflict helped us grow and understand each other a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, if I answered your question.
Yeah, you did. I do have a follow-up question now that you bring Dynasty up. What was your mental capacity and thought process in jail knowing that you had a daughter out there and you was 16 years old and just the process that you had to face? You said 26 and a half is what you had to do, but you were supposed to do 28. So, like, did you have concerns? How did you feel when you talked to her some of those days? Like, what was going on with you mentally? Know that you had a daughter out there and that,
the thing about it is that I always use her as motivation. And I'm going to tell you why. I didn't have much to care about, right? But I knew I cared about my daughter and loved my daughter. And even when she couldn't understand the thing that I was saying, I was sending her letters, sending her cards, things like that. She went through stages in her life where sometimes she respond, and then sometimes she didn't respond. The only thing that I can do is stay consistent. Any opportunity I had on the phone, I made sure I talked to her the best way that I can because I didn't want her to basically view me as what she hear from everybody else, right? I wanted her to try to understand me for me, and I didn't want her to look at me as a gang member because I knew that she was seeing all that. She grew up in the same neighborhood I grew up in.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to be different as a man. Like, I didn't want to be the same. I wanted to just make sure I do everything that I can do, productive and consistent to show her because she was out here, she was striving too to try to be what she can be under all the stuff that was going on out here in these societies.
Right.
So it was tough, man, to be honest with you. But she was my number one motivation to, basically to try to get back out here to her. So she was part of the reason. So like I said, once I continued to learn new things to help me as a human being and understand that I wasn't an animal, I'm a human being. So once I learned that, I just did added things, man, just to motivate me as a person. And so I developed a lot of coping skills, man. It's hard to actually see light in darkness.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
That's real.
Seriously though. And that's something that I was able to do. I was able to have faith and have that patience to be able to have faith. To just and that's why I say it wasn't to get out of prison, it was for me. Because if I did it to get out of prison, as soon as I got a disappointment, because I had to go to the parole board.
Yeah.
And when I first went to the parole board, I got denied 3 years.
Deny you twice?
They denied me twice.
I know that was hard.
Yeah, but at the same time, it was tough. But I understood what I did, and they didn't have to let me out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I understood that. But I did believe that one day they will. If I just stay consistent, regardless of what I had to go through, that one day I come home. And God willing, it happened.
And that's the part that I wanted to ask. You said it's hard to see light in darkness. So basically, as far as like the mental health part goes, what advice would you have for somebody that feel like they going through something where it's like a dark time in their life? Like, what advice would you give them? Like, I guess because you said in there it's all mental, right?
Right.
So in order for you to, once they put the R on the end of it, for you to keep going through every program that you could get that will help you because you planned on getting out.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people in there that just be like, you know what I'm saying? I'm here. This what it is. It's effort. I ain't never coming home.
And see, but I'm gonna tell you, the people that you surround yourself with makes a big difference. And I'm gonna tell you why, man. Because like we all gonna go through something, right?
Right.
It's gonna shake us up in some type of way. Some of us we don't have the patience to go through things. We want immediate satisfaction.
Nah, that's facts.
So,
I was gonna go there too, but go ahead.
yeah. So what I have always done, and what people can do, is like if you know that you have these mental states that you go through. I call them emotional problems, right? We, you know, man and women is very emotional. Men don't like to say that they're emotional, but we are emotional too. Mm-hmm. And if we don't know how to control our emotions,
people like to only think it's cancers.
Right, but if we don't know how to,
I hate that shit. I'm a cancer. Every time they meet me, yo, you a cancer? You emotional? Like, what the fuck does that mean?
But I realize, man, if we don't know how to control our emotions, we'll be out of control. You know what I'm saying? So you have to put yourself around good people, good settings to give yourself a chance.
Right.
And I feel like if a person put themselves in a position just to give themselves a chance, I'm saying it, and they get perseverance behind that, it ain't no telling how much you can overcome.
Right.
And like I said, people sometimes they don't see that because that's the hardest thing to do is to be patient and waiting on it.
Right. And I think that's crazy that you said that because, like, I've been, like, lately I've been working on my chi. I've been trying to get in tune with my inner self because I don't like how I feel like I don't like how other things and other people take up real estate in my mind.
Right.
Like, I feel like it just needs to be me and the goal at hand.
Thanks.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then when I start thinking about all this other stuff, then that's when, you know what I'm saying? And that's, so I've been kind of like, I've been trying to work on my chi lately, and it's forced me to remain quiet a lot of times. Like, I'm quiet, like, when stuff happen. But what we was talking about earlier, you made a point. It's like people are looking for instant satisfaction, and you was talking about people surrounding yourself with the right amount of people.
Yeah.
And it's like, it seems like nowadays, the world that we live in, like the social media world, it's like every time somebody going through something, they always feel like they got to go and put it on social media, whether it's good or bad. And realistically, the reason why I don't like that is because if you really break it down and break everybody's followers down, you talking to a whole bunch of people who you don't know.
Right.
Whether you saying good or not. And it's like, you're looking, whether you know it or not, you're looking for instant satisfaction from people who don't know you. Yeah. And I'm trying to figure out, how did we get to the point where we doing shit like that?
People don't understand this philosophy. Temporary emotions can set you into a longevity of hell. Like temporary emotions, because a lot of people who do social media posts and they talk about their lifestyles, that's temporary emotions. Some people get those emotions fixed in the next 3 minutes sometimes. So it's just that they're used to moving to that, but they don't understand that concept. Like, it's going to get better.
Right.
You just can't go off of your emotions for right now. And that's what social media does for a lot of people, honestly.
I think it actually should be a highlight reel. Like, I'm going to post, what I post is I'm going to post what I do, and I'm going to post the good. But I'm not going to tell you every single thing about my life. And I'm not gonna tell you what I'm going through. And that's just period. Like, I don't value none of y'all opinions like that because to be honestly truthful, the people who opinions that you value they gonna know exactly what you're going through because you're gonna call them and tell them yourself.
Right.
Or they gonna be close enough to you to where they can give you advice without you having to run and tell the internet.
Yeah, they're going to reach out. I do have a follow-up question for you. This is one of my last questions. During the process of being released, did you feel like you were going to be a burden on your family? And I know that you had a friend that came up with some bread and had his own company and everything. How did that process go for you? Did you know that was going to be waiting for you? And also, what was that process of being released? Did you feel like you were going to be a burden? And did you know your future when you were going to be released? That's kind of my question.
I knew I had an idea of my future. I didn't know was everything going to go like I would want it to go because I've been gone for so long. Did I have the confidence to believe that I wasn't going to do anything to make me not get close to it? Yeah, I had the confidence. When I came home, I didn't have the opportunity to go straight to the program. I'd never had a job before. I had to drive all the way out to Rialto for my first job, and I did that for 2 years.
Shout out Rialto.
You know, I did that for 2 years, drove an hour and a half up and an hour and a half back working graveyard shift because I didn't want to have my hands out for nothing. And since I've been home, I haven't had my hands out for nothing. That was just the type of energy that I built up in myself, the type of grind that I built up in myself. Like when I came home, I was a grown man. I was 42 years old when I came home. No, I was 41, then I turned 42 after I came home. So I never was the type to have my hand out, even when I was a child.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have that because I didn't grow up like that being spoiled. But, man, God have always been with me, you know, regardless of what
Speak on that because we got somebody in here who got a different theory, but speak on that.
No, seriously, because
What?
he say what? No, but God have always been there for me, man, with everything I've been through, even the struggles that I've been through, the lessons that was taught to me. Man, it's been beauty in that struggle, man. It's been beauty in the struggle, and that's the message that I always try to spin to people, man. This is a big world. If you feel like that you ain't gonna never go through nothing, you know what I mean? You living in a world of your own. You know what I mean? Because there's always somebody who has a worse story than yours or going through something more than you. But you cannot act like that you can't get up off your own feet and continue to push. Just like they say, if you fall, you got to get back up. You got to get back up. And that was always my concept of just continue to get back up. And to answer your question, man, I didn't know what to expect when I got out. But I knew that I had built myself for the impact of this world. I knew that I wasn't going to go backwards like I used to be.
Right.
I knew that. I knew I trust and I liked it, the person I was today.
Right.
So I knew that was going to help me. You know what I mean? Because my energy that I give to people, people embrace that. You know what I'm saying? People really embrace that. And I think like a lot of people, like if you're giving off bad energy, people not going to embrace you. Like they always say, I'd rather hire a person who has a good attitude than a person who has a bad attitude.
Yeah.
Because you can't teach that person that.
Vibrations.
Yeah. Me, I just stay humble, man. I'm always a learner. I'm always open-minded. You know what I mean? I like to listen before I be understood. You know what I'm saying? So them are the things I do that just to help me continue to move forward, you know, and just even the things that we doing with mental health now. You know, I don't like to always put myself out there, but I put myself out there for a good cause.
And then we got plot twist for Dynasty. So he talked about a lot of the emotions that you were going through during that process. How do you feel you did with your emotions? And do you think that process was something that you really learned from or it just taught you a lesson?
Question. God, he gonna hit you with that.
I had to hit you with that because
I really was thinking I was a fool over here.
she's been speaking highly of you for a long time, just so you know, on this show, and she says a lot of, you know, situations that she has put herself in, she has to learn on her own. But then the advice that she would seek from others, it made sense. It would balance out sometimes. And just the idea that when you came home, that relationship that y'all built was something that she said was uncomparable to anything else that she had. So I wanted to know, what was that process like to get to that moment?
I think from the jump, I think that my father is very wise. I think that he has a demeanor and presence that a lot of people can relate to. I think that he's like one of the biggest mentors I've ever had in my life. I think that a lot of people don't get to have this experience. I feel like this is an experience for me. A lot of people had their fathers in their life and they left and passed away or went to jail. 26 years, I envied a lot of my friends and families that had two-parent households who had a father. When I mean envy, like you wouldn't even imagine the type of thoughts that I would have just being around it, you know, because it was just like, why I got to grow up the way I was growing up. But what really got to me is when I started school. I really feel like at Audubon and Dorsey, I was just different from everybody. And I didn't really know where that difference was coming from, because when you see him, now people can see a reflection of me. Before, people used to be like, oh, your mama turned up. Everybody was looking for that. And I'm like, Dynasty is not really that. Like, I never really fit into a lot of crowds. Like, we went to Dorsey, but I only went to Dorsey for one semester.
Right.
So it's like, to be honest, if I didn't know Gotti and a few
I thought
other
you
people,
went to Dorsey.
Nah, because I was living a different lifestyle for a minute. I went to like 4 or 5 different high schools. I went to my juvenile delinquency
She was at
phase.
Dorsey so much, though. I'm just saying. She was right there in the jungles.
Juvenile delinquent.
Yeah, I went to juvenile hall a few times. I engaged in a lot of crime in the jungles. I've done a lot of things that I wouldn't regret, but I wouldn't say I'm proud of. And I think that absence, that came from him, because I started to date guys that was in the gangs like him. I started to look for, even when I dated guys in the jungles or who I was dealing with, I was looking for my dad in them, because I didn't know what to look for. And what I did know about my dad was that he was active, he was a gang member, he was about his money. So I'm looking for this person in this community. I'm trying to find my identity, but then I'm also looking for my dad, because everybody knew him. And it was a lot of good stuff, but it was like, okay, how do I take my mama identity and my daddy identity, both gang members, used to be gang members, how do I build my own credibility and stuff like that? So emotions, I'm not really emotional female. I'm more like a person that like holds it in. I don't really say too much, but what I did do with my emotions is that I put it into my work. So I think that's why I finished school when I was 25 with my master's. I started businesses back to back. I'm able to me, out of a lot of the peers that I know, I'm able to withstand struggle and withstand a lot of pressure at one time, all day, every day.
Facts.
All day, every day. And that distinction is where at first I didn't know where I got that from. My friends made me feel weird, no shade. A lot of my close friends made me feel weird at a point in time. I used to come to them with my dreams. They turned them down. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? And that hurted me a lot, because I was 14, 15, trying to take over the world, and I didn't know where that feeling was coming from. And when he got out, I'm like, oh, that's where my energy was coming from. That's that inner me. But at first, Ace, they used to put me down. My friends between 14 and 19, it was a conversation they didn't understand. And then I used to talk to them, and they used to be like, girl, what you talking about? Pass the blunt. And I used to be like, they ain't getting what I'm, you know. So I think I went through a lot.
She gonna hear she gonna have to hear what I gotta say after this too.
I'm blue back
real.
right now. I'm kind of like,
for real. She gonna have to hear what I gotta say after that.
So, you know, I just had a different type of experience growing up. I think the first emotion I ever felt as a child was alone.
Okay.
I didn't feel happiness. I didn't know what all of that meant, but I knew that one emotion that I felt was alone, because my daddy wasn't around. My mama was in the streets. My grandparents raised me. This was the crack cocaine area, so my grandmother was on drugs at this time, but this was functional drug addicts. This is not the ones we talking about. It's in the street. My grandma had a job. She had a place to stay. She took care of me, but this is what I was around. And then I grew up as an only child for 13 years. And then when I did have friends, they wasn't accepting to me, and I didn't really understand why. It was just like, okay, so I feel like I was always like a loner. And I didn't understand that. But when my dad got out, I started accepting Dynasty. I didn't accept who I was until he got out.
Right.
It made me date different. Like, you know what? If you're not meeting these expectations, I'm good. Because my daddy is showing me what I should be dating. My daddy is the one who got me working out. You know what I mean? A few months ago, I was like, I was bigger than this. I've been working out. My mental been different. The way I've been moving been different. And I couldn't get that to nobody else but God and him.
I'm happy you said that, because I want you to I don't know if you can after that, because basically you just said it. But I just want you to let people know how important it is for a daughter to have their father present in their life.
Can I add value on that real quick? So I've been knowing Dynasty since the 9th grade. We ain't never been like personally connected until really college, because we really didn't have that much conversation during the process of high school. But we was running into each other, you know, constantly through friends, and then we would go to football games and stuff like that. But something that she said was, from 9th grade that I knew her, she had she was different. She just had a different swagger than her friends. She was the type that would be like, hey, let's go hiking. She would say yes. And I'm talking about, these are some jungle babies. They're not going hiking. And I'm saying she had that kind of persona where it was like, try this carrot cake. And she would try the carrot cake. You know, it was just that differency about her.
Carrot cake bomb.
Yeah, but I'm just speaking in reference to, maybe it's made by some white people. You know, let's go there. So my whole thing was, she was different. But she always had drive. Because I can tell you, like, she went through her process, as we talked about. She dated some people that was questionable. We would say that. But
Right.
you can tell that because she dated those type of people, she had a different characteristic. She seen something in those people because she was different herself.
Right.
But when we got to college, something that she doesn't know is, when she came to college, she wasn't fucking with nobody. She was on her shit. I'm talking about, she was pass us and say hi, but it was going to class, I need to go study. She was walking with the white people. Like, she was doing what she had to do what she had to do.
Right.
While we were sitting there bullshitting, right? So my first year, I was kicked out of Northridge. And most of my, people that know me, they know that's what happened to me. And I would never forget, I ran into Dynasty, and I was during the process of going to Southwest College. I ran into you. I can't even remember where I ran into you was. It was like a kickback, a backyard kickback. It probably was at Cola House. I don't know if that where it was. But I asked you, I said, you still in school? You was like, hell yeah, like, I'm finna graduate. Like I got this much credits, I'm doing this. And I'm just like, what? I got pumped up because it was just like, damn, Dynasty really doing this shit. Like, seeing that you had those type of, habits that you were setting for yourself, and we would see you constantly. It's like, she really on her shit. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to get back into school. And that was kind of a drive. A lot of people did have impact, but I do want you to know that. So during that process, this is why it all gets funny. I graduate, and we end up at USC together. Me and her, right? You remember this?
Yep. I came up there to see you.
This was the first time we really had a real conversation, and we were studying at the time. And we were talking
Gotti,
about,
I didn't know you was at SC.
I was at SC for a semester. It was too high for me, though. And I ended up going back to Northridge and getting my master's. But
I think I did know that.
We were there, and we were sitting, and she was talking about her life, things I never knew about her.
Mm-hmm.
And everything made sense. And it was like a snowball effect to say, damn, you created something that was, you created this monster of a woman in you now. And you're doing really good things. And to know that she had all these questions back then. This is why I asked her that question. She was like, like, she talked about you, like, dang, like, my dad is in jail, she talked about other things, of course. Mm-hmm. And to know that you gave her that comfort and that reassurance that she needed, that's dope. I'm just saying, for me to witness this right now, that's dope. That's really dope. And I do want you to know that. She get a round of applause. Give her a round of applause for that, man. We really do need to give her a round of applause for
and
that.
I was just...
They over there to stud. You don't know.
Nah, because honestly, I'm blew back. Like, I'm blew back for the fact that you was able to stay like a consistent presence in her life from behind bars. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You missed a lot of her life, but it's like, to see that you was the one driving her and she was the one driving you, and now I'm looking at both of y'all, and y'all came in all black like y'all was just about to kill the show.
They did,
and y'all did it. It's kind of just crazy to me. It's a whole lot of manifestation going on. I'm feeling that energy right now. You know? I'll make me want to go do some shit.
For sure.
Thank you, though, Gotti. That really means a lot to me. I didn't know you felt that way, so that's dope. That's dope. I appreciate that.
And I do have one more question for you. What do you have upcoming right now? Because I know y'all did come here to talk about what's the process in y'all mental program that y'all started. So what is the process, and what do you have up next that's going to be big for y'all?
Okay, so it's really big for the people.
Right.
We started this company called Mental Health in the Hood. It was supposed to be mental health in the neighborhood, but I shortened it for hood. Mm-hmm. And we're talking about, we're referring to the urban communities. That's what we're referring to. And we're not talking about just areas in LA. We're talking about all over the world, urban communities from all ethnicities and nationalities of people who have been impacted by mental health. Urban communities, based on statistics, has shown the highest rates of mental health crisis and situations more than rural communities. And rural communities are areas like where you live in a farm area and there's like you got to drive 15 miles to the store.
Fresno.
Yeah, and things like that. And when you live in LA or just in areas that have cities that are real compact, we have the highest level of mental health. That's one. So the company, our mission is to expand awareness about the perceptions, stigmas, and discrimination amongst everyday people who stay in mental health. who are impacted by mental health. Yeah. So what that looks like is through our work, we're going to showcase it through media. So we started a mental health show that is on YouTube. It's called The Mental Health Show. There will be a show dropping every other Sunday. Our second episode will be dropping this Sunday at 9. You just go to YouTube and click on The Mental Health Show. We also will be hosting trauma-informed workshops. He's focusing on trauma-informed workshops with men and women in recidivism. And mine is more about trauma-informed and social justice care in organizations with professionals and things like that. And then we're going to have a life coaching program as well. So if people who are influenced by me and my dad can have an individual coaching session to help them reach their goals. Because a lot of us have goals and dream big, but we don't know how to get there. Right. You know, nice. And me and my dad don't have all the expertise, but we do have the adversity. We do have our experiences and our willpower. So people who are influenced by the work that we're doing through the workshops and through the media can say, hey, I want to book a session with Dynasty for life coaching and have her help me figure out what I want to do and what direction I want to go in. So it's also a platform where we allowing people to share their story. So on our mental health show, we are going to be interviewing people who are going to be referred by the community who are impacted or currently dealing with mental health from all ages, children, adults, senior citizens. So it can be situations where somebody's dealing with postpartum. It can be a situation where somebody was basically living a lifestyle that was different, got into a car accident, now they paralyzed. How do they deal with that? You know, because we have a lot of people on social media to where they was walking at a party 2 years ago, but then now you see him in a wheelchair, like walking rich. His story is very inspiring to me. So I feel like mental health is something we don't talk about. A lot of people use it as like to spark a conversation, mental health. But I feel like the people who are talking about mental health, a lot of them are not mental health professionals. A lot of them are not social workers. They're not counselors. They're not psychologists. And that does not mean that a person that does not have that credential shouldn't be talking about it, but I feel like it should be more on the platform, and it should be we should be educating more people about it and helping people to become more comfortable with talking about it. Me and my dad wouldn't be where we are today if we didn't make a choice to heal. We made a choice to heal. When we decided to do that,
it started with that choice, though, right?
Right, we had to make the choice because we was going back and forth. I was like, you ain't been around. You know, he was trying to play the dad role. I was more stubborn about it, but I was like, you know what? We can't take 26 years back. That's over. No. It's done. I'm not a little girl anymore. I'm an adult. He's an adult. So when we made that decision to heal and leave the past in the past and work on where we are now, and we seen how powerful it was for us, we wanted to inspire.
Don't you feel so happy?
Right.
I feel like people be like weirded out by the fact that I'm about to be 33, and my dad ain't never been in my life. But I tell my mom, like, you know what, I want to meet him. And people be weirded out by that. But it's like nah, it's a lot of stuff that people y'all don't understand, and I'm not even gonna understand until I meet this nigga. Right. Honestly.
That gotta happen because we be talking about that all the time.
Right.
But man, we really appreciate y'all for sure. We're gonna go into the last segment. Don't mess my cut up, and then we gonna have some takeaways because we got a few minutes left. All right. So yeah, man, y'all ready for Don't Mess My Cut Up? If y'all want to pitch in and talk to Ace Boogie about what these song lyrics are, that'd be cool. So the first song lyric, I think you might get this one. I don't know.
I'm undefeated.
All right, let's see. You might get this one because I don't be picking the ones that you be picking. You be picking underground music. All right. I'm not gonna sing it.
Picking Wu-Tang.
I'm not gonna sing it like him either. I'm gonna just say the lyrics.
You have to.
Nah, bro. I can't this one because you're gonna get it. I don't want anybody to get the wrong idea about me. I ain't got nothing to hide.
That's Snoop and Badass.
I want the world to see.
Yeah.
I'm a gangster. That's
easy,
number
bro.
one. So you got that. So you got
easy,
that.
Bro.
You got that. All right. Number two, I'm gonna do it. All right. It's gonna burn for me to say this, but it's coming from the heart.
Usher.
all right. You got that.
You knew not
you
to
got
say
that.
that.
He got that.
Undefeated.
All right. You might not get this one though. I did this one just because you been going hard on me these weeks with the hard ones. I'm a dropout who make more money than his teachers.
I'm a dropout who make more money than his teachers.
He ain't gonna know this one.
I know that one.
He ain't gonna know this one because he got me last week, so I had to give him one.
Wait, that's like
I'm a dropout who make more money than his teachers.
It's like, ooh.
Yeah, I got you.
I don't want to give in because it's right here on the tip of my tongue, bro.
You got to give in because you ain't going to get this one.
Can I phone a friend?
Can
I phone Dynasty?
The next word, you're going to get it. The next word, you're going to get it if I so you want.
All right, say the next word.
All right. You using a lifeline?
Yeah.
I'm a dropout who make more money than his teachers. Ruthless.
Oh my God.
Come on, man.
Ruthless. I know you know this one.
I'm about to be so mad once it's revealed. I need the phone. I'm a phone a friend and let Dynasty go ahead.
Let him know.
I don't know if I got it right.
Let him know. Let him
I was
know.
gonna say Biggie.
Nah.
It wasn't Biggie.
It's 50. Ruthless,
Ah.
but
But I come with more features.
I am, but I am. You can like it. I love it.
Oh.
Finally got your ass. Yeah.
Honey, do you like 50? Because you be bringing up
I really do like 50.
I
Like
got
Get
a
Rich or Die
feeling,
Trying,
okay.
one of my favorite albums. For real,
Okay,
for real.
okay, cool.
But next week I'm coming with some underground.
That gave me a headache.
Next week I'm coming with some underground. I wanted to seek him into that though, cause he be thinking he got them all. Got them all. Shout out to Hot Sauce.
My head.
But yeah, so now what we gonna do is we gonna have some takeaways. So pretty much this part of the segment is, if you would like anybody to take away anything in this conversation, what would you want them to take away with any type of information you may have, or just something that you took away from this conversation that stood out the most? We can go in counterclockwise. So I guess Ace, you could start.
What I want people to take away from this conversation is just we have right here sitting in front of us how powerful of a relationship that a father and a daughter and what they can produce when they come together. And we already have fathers who's not in their kids' lives and all of that. So what I'm saying is the fathers that's around, ladies, don't give them hell. Let them be in their daughter's life. Their daughters need them. You know what I'm saying? It's not something that's even negotiable with you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, daughters need their fathers.
Message.
Period. And I'm gonna end it like that.
I felt that. That was from the heart. I felt that one. Here you go.
I got
Alright.
you, big homie.
All right, so something that I would like people to really take away from the conversation tonight is your mental is very strong, and you have to feed the brain with a lot of positivity to make sure that you can be the best person that you can be. If you haven't heard anything, you have to know who you are to become happy. You cannot live your life through everybody else and all of these different facades and personas. You really have to know who you are. So that means that sometimes God will strip away everything that you have just to make you see that you are the only person that can make things happen for yourself and to make yourself happy as well, and then give it back to you with the most, and I would say the most blessings that you would ever think of. I'm honored for this interview to happen. I'm really thankful for y'all to come out today as well. But yeah, that's what I would give to people.
Dynasty Hustle.
I would say a good takeaway is that shame and vulnerability there's power in that. There's power in taking out the time to take care of yourself. It's power in basically being able to work on your mental health, educate yourself on your trauma, identify what coping mechanisms can help you grow as a person, get in touch with yourself, find some inner peace, and be able to give yourself and ask yourself for permission to heal. Give yourself permission to want to be in touch with yourself. Give yourself permission to take care of yourself. Give yourself permission to do the things that you need to do to remain healthy mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and physically. You are important. You have to make sure that you are aware of that. Mental health awareness is not the only month that we should be addressing this issue, but I would say take care of your mental health, take care of yourself, and make it a choice and a decision. And as soon as you're able to do that, there will be steps that will take you and guide you to that same principle.
Message.
That was great right there.
Man.
That was great. My main thing that I would want people to take is self-love. You know, self-love is self-care. You have to be patient and trust the process. You know, you have to trust the process and don't let people come in your house rearranging your furniture, meaning that don't let people get in your head rearranging the thoughts in your mind. And keep yourself surrounded by good people and know that people who's struggling with trauma, with their emotions and struggling with mental health is a way to be able to cope and move forward, to get a nice balance in your life. You know, you're not gonna be perfect, but at least you'll be able to live. You know, that's what I want people to take out of this.
Man, we really do appreciate.
That was dope.
We really do appreciate y'all coming on to the show. We highlighted some of the factors that we did talk about in here tonight. Pretty much, man, we just want to say thank y'all for tuning in to the Black Barbershop.
Yes, sir.
Make sure y'all continue to tell your friends and family to tune in as well. Download the Good News app. And, yeah, y'all have a good night. And the Black Barbershop, we out.
Thank you.